Hey, are you ready to hear the 5 wrong assumptions of living in Costa Rica? I am guilty of all 5. Well, I live in Costa Rica since 2018 with my husband Dirk and 2 kids. Hi, my name is Muriel. We never met before. I am excited to share with you what I have learned so far after my big move in 2018, which has been an amazing, exciting adventure. Thanks to my laptop business, we made it happen to just close them in the Netherlands and open them here in Costa Rica. And I have learned so much along my way. And today I'm gonna reveal the 5 biggest wrong assumptions that I discovered were actually not, that the reality was different than I expected it to be. So if you're thinking about moving to Costa Rica, or perhaps you're already here, or you know it from vacationing and now you're dreaming about living here, watch my video until the end to be prepared and to adjust your idea of the reality, if that makes sense. If you never been to my channel and is completely new, welcome, and you can subscribe to the channel by clicking that little icon you see here below. Tap the bell icon so you receive a notification every time I upload a new video, and that's always Costa Rica related, valuable information for people who are thinking about living in Costa Rica, or who think about moving to Costa Rica, or even if you want to travel Costa Rica, this can truly help you. So, are you ready for wrong assumption number 1? That is, and I'm so guilty of this, thinking that one day you wake up speaking fluent Spanish. If you are not familiar with the Spanish language, which is the language of Costa Rica, then you will be surprised that probably won't happen in general, right? So there is examples of people I know, they learned quite fast Spanish, although not knowing a word before they came. It's because, for example, they make friends who only speak Spanish, or get a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like becoming lovers really helps in learning the language. And also for children who go to school, like literally like local schools where they are surrounded by Spanish speaking people all day long, like a minimum of 6 to 8 hours per day. Yes, those people overall learn very quick speaking Spanish. However, all others overall not, including myself. That's why I signed up for a Spanish course. Finally, yes, I can speak some Spanish. Like, I will never start speaking English in a store. I will always start in Spanish. But there comes this moment that the other person starts to talk back, and I'm like, ooh, can you slow down a little bit, because I don't follow. So yeah, overall the people are really nice, but speaking and understanding the language when you live in Costa Rica is of course super important. So don't think you're gonna wake up one day speaking it. You need to take effort to learn it. So that's a big piece of advice, okay? Wrong assumption number 2 is that thinking that life when you're living in Costa Rica is always like a vacation. And I'm not saying I don't have a family or vacation feeling when I'm sitting here on my own property, right? I can imagine that a lot of people are dreaming about living in Costa Rica based on their experiences of having had a vacation here. And so the sun is turning now. It suddenly is in my eyes. So I'm turning a little bit. So yeah, most of all, including myself, so I'm guilty of it, is that I was here on vacation. I fell in love with the country, with the people, with the language, with everything that was possible here, including the fast speed internet, so we can just work. So we already saw it, like, wow, we work online anyway, so let's just continue doing it in Costa Rica. Thank you, online business. We're location free. By the way, if you want to learn more about what it is that I do, what I teach, to discover if this is the right fit for you, down below is a link, and there's in the description more information, and click on those links to discover what it is that I do and find out if that's the right fit for you. I love this freedom of choice, right? But thinking that life is always a vacation is tricky because it's not. Vacationing in Costa Rica is awesome. Probably you're not gonna make dinner, you're not gonna cook your own meals, probably you don't do your own laundry overall, you just bring it to a laundry store, or vacation is different. You do activities, and life is kind of like a specific space, right? Where you're not doing the things that you do at home where you live. Well, so when we moved to Costa Rica, after we moved, actually quite quick, quite fast, the kids went to school, right? So they came home tired. I needed to have a meal, or we needed to go out for dinner. But when you live in Costa Rica, living in Costa Rica, you don't go to a restaurant every day. Well, I don't go to a restaurant every day. I don't want to go to a restaurant every day. I can go to a restaurant every day, but I want to decide what I put in my food, right? If I want to eat, this is just family life. And that requires actions from you, like working. Unless you're fully retired and you don't have to work, I work online, but I do work, right? I coach people. I'm always educating. I create my own courses. Like, I do work, and although my kids do online learning now, they go to 100% online school, which is amazing. I also tell my kids, okay, now just leave me alone in my office. I need to work a couple of hours. So that is different than vacation. And I'm not saying I'm never in my hammock. I am in my hammock very often. I walk on the beach very often, and that feels like having vacation. But living in Costa Rica is totally not the same as vacationing in Costa Rica. You have to pay your rent, you have to pay your bills. If you have your own place, your own property like us, although it's paid off, right? It's mortgage free. There is maintenance, there is stuff to do, the grass is growing, we need to arrange things to keep everything in shape, and that's not vacation, right? When you're vacationing, you call or you make a complaint if something is not in order, and I don't know, it's taken care of overall. But when you are living in Costa Rica, it's gonna be on your shoulders. So don't misunderstand the concept of living in Costa Rica. It's just probably how you're used to. You have to drive your kids from A to B if they have play dates. You have to connect with other parents. Like, as a parent, everything is the same, right? But of course, look at me, when it's cold in the Netherlands, I'm still wearing just a t-shirt or a sarong, and I am not even wearing shoes. My kids are not wearing shoes. So it has a vacation atmosphere, but it's not vacation at all, right? Unless you are 100% retired, which I congratulate you with, if that's the case. Now, again, if you are sick and tired of your job that's keeping you in one place, so you cannot even think about living in Costa Rica, it might be interesting for you to check out what I have to share in the description below. And now it starts to rain. It's really weird. This is funny because this is my wrong assumption number 3, thinking that dry season is always dry and rainy season is always raining. That is what I thought when I came to Costa Rica. Like, let's move in rainy season, so it's always raining and there's not a lot of people, so there's always lots of houses to find. I found out that in rainy season there were really sunny beach days, and in dry season we had like big sudden rains. And how come? Well, first of all, if it rains or if it's dry depends on the area where you are. I've learned that in the area of San Jose, where the airport is, the big airport, Alajuela, it rains all year round, right? So don't be surprised if you're staying there for the first time, I don't know, and it's super dry season overall, so it's written down like that in travel journeys and stuff, and now it's raining like a couple of days in a row. Don't be surprised. It's the area where that's quite normal. Right here where I live at the peninsula de Nicoya and the province Punta Arenas, it can be very, very dry. Oh, now it starts to... The wind is coming up, probably. I don't know what's happening. Let's wait and see. But so I'm in a very dry area, and so in dry season, everything is overall yellow, dried up. But where I live a little bit outside of Santa Teresa, a little bit higher than the Santa Teresa Malpais area. And where I live, there's lots of water in the ground. And so we keep green grass. Yeah, it starts to become a little bit more yellow, but in the back of our land, there's so much water. The river has not been dry in past dry season. So, and we have lots of mango trees, 179 to be exact. We cut down one to build the casita of Dirk's mom in the back, but they stay green all year round. So, there's not black and white in dry or wet. In the other side of Costa Rica, it can be dry when here it's wet, while it's dry or rainy season. So yeah, you have to be flexible in the mind, and don't see it as black and white. And they will help you, because if you have wrong expectations, overall, you are disappointed, right? When something doesn't happen the way that you expected. So it's for yourself to tell yourself, hey, let's be flexible. I'm gonna be living in Costa Rica. I need to be flexible. That's a big key to overcome all those wrong assumptions. And there's more, but for this video, just stick to 5. Otherwise, my video will be an hour. So there's also a big climate change happening around the world, not in Costa Rica. So that makes it possible that in dry season, there's lots of rains. That people were speaking about the previous dry season. They have never seen that before. So I'm like, okay, obviously this happens. Let's be flexible. Let's plant some plants, which we don't usually do we don't do that in dry season. Okay, wrong assumption number 4 of living in Costa Rica is that when you think, of course, so let's be clear. Locals, Ticos, so, people who were born and raised, the original inhabitants, how do you say that? People living in Costa Rica, the Ticos, are very nice, open for expats and strangers. They will never let you down when you have car trouble. People are helpful, sweet, kind, inviting you into their house, etc. It's really the truth. That's one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to be living in Costa Rica. Compared to the Netherlands, that's not what's gonna happen in the Netherlands. You are not be invited in as a stranger in someone's house in the Netherlands. Dutch people are completely the opposite. They're very, very hold you back at the beginning if they don't know you. Here in Costa Rica, I see the opposite. I love that. But it's a wrong assumption, thinking that now you are very close friends. Suppose that you are living somewhere where you're surrounded by Ticos, people from Costa Rica, and they're helping out with things and welcoming you, etc., etc. And now you think, wow, they're gonna invite you over for Christmas, or do things together like celebrating birthday parties or whatsoever. It's just an example, right? And actually, I don't know this from my own experience, because I'm kind of on my own with Dirk and on my family. We have friends, but we're kind of on our own, and we love that. We go out for dinner with friends, and we invite people here, but we have a small network here. But I know one of my friends is married with a Tico, and I learned from her that she has seen that Ticos are very, what I just explained, but when it comes to the point of inviting you into their inner circle of very close friends and family, they're not allowing you in. That is the borderline of where they say until here and not further. So you will be disappointed if you think that you can make easy Tico friends, like how you are expecting it, perhaps how you did it in the country where you're left to exchange for living in Costa Rica. But it's just not in the nature of the Ticos. In general, there's probably people, Ticos, watching who feel offended, that's not me. I have a lot of, this is not personal, but this is just in general. And if you're watching and you're a Tico, you have a different point of view, please share, because this, I'm a visitor. I'm not a visitor. I live in your country. Please teach me more to understand why that is, because I would really love to know if Ticos are aware of that, if that's really a thing, or if this is just a coincidence. Because like I said, I've not really expected it. What I did expect is that the moment there was, especially with people who did work for us, that there was one moment that someone was not really finished with the work, and we never heard back from him. Even I sent him WhatsApps, and I saw that he read it and he never got back to me. And Dutch people were very open, or perhaps I am very open. When I'm bothered by something, I will say it. If I'm happy with something, I will say it. I'm like an open book. That's in my nature. That's also how Dutch people are. I discovered that Ticos might be, if something is bothering them, they are more likely to shut down and not say anything and just hide, although they don't mean harm, than just to open it up and have a discussion and say, you know, I messed something up, or I lost something, or I broke something. And we have found, like, we have constructed a new house, casita, for Dirk's mom. We found weird tools in the bushes, like that they don't need it anymore. It was like, well, just tell us that you ordered too much of it, and then we can return it to the store. But don't just hide it and pretend that you used it and then we found out later. You know, and this is not just me who found out. So the Tico culture is one of a kind, and it can be a disappointment if you expect something from Ticos that they're not able to give. And I don't mean that bad, but I mean that just, you know, my previous explanation, if that makes sense, okay? Please share below if you have things to add. I love to hear your experience. And then wrong assumption number 5 to close this video with, and I hope you still enjoy. Let me know in the comments below, please. Don't think that Costa Rica is very cliche, but even me, I'm guilty. Don't think it's cheap financially. Costa Rica is the most expensive country in Latin, so Central and South America. And even cheaper than Mexico, right? So yeah, if you think that your money is more worth than where you are, you're wrong. I dare to say that where we live, and that's the area where we live, we choose it ourselves. And by the way, thinking that it's always quiet is also a wrong assumption, which could be point number 6. You hear that, right? It's the time that workers are, it's the end of the day. And this is the front garden of where I'm sitting. Dirk is shooting a training at the other side of the house, so I was deciding to sit here. But I'm close to the road. We have traffic. There is just this tiny pieces of land where you don't hear a thing, and that means that you're gonna live very, very off grid. I don't know if that's what you want. If you want to work remotely and online like I do, you need optic fiber, and that's not in those very, very off-grid areas. And so don't buy land that's cheap priced when people promise you, well, the internet will come soon, there's no Electra yet. It can take years to come. So noise, live with it. It's not all day long. It's only in the peak hours in the morning around 6 and between 4 and 5 more or less. But that was point 6. I was still talking about number 5, wrong assumption. Is it's not cheap. It's not as cheap as Nicaragua. It's not as cheap as Panama. I advise you, well, although it's more difficult to travel back and forth now with all the restrictions and testing and stuff and insurances and stuff that you need to arrange when entering Costa Rica, but it's cheaper to buy stuff, supplies, building material in Panama than in Costa Rica. Costa Rica has very high taxes, but let's be real, there's a reason why a lot of people decide to be living in Costa Rica than the countries that is way cheaper, because it's very expat friendly. You can buy land here, you can buy vehicles here. It's a welcoming country. It's I think one of the less corrupt countries. Although there's even corruption in the Netherlands, let's be real. Like I am very realistic, so it's not pointing a finger at other countries. But I think it's a very good country for expats, for visitors, for travelers, for single moms with kids to travel to live here whatsoever. It's a good. It feels good. I decided to relocate with my family, including 2 kids, right? So yeah, it is a good country, but okay, it's not cheap. It's more expensive than in the Netherlands. That was my point. I dare to say the peninsula, the Nicoya. Oh, then I start to talk about the traffic. Is like more remote than in other areas. We don't have Walmart here, or not yet. The trucks need to drive way further, so the products are more expensive, and there is already high taxes on products, so we pay at least double here, close to Santa Teresa. So be prepared with your wallet, and that's why. And if you say, well, Costa Rica, and I have to add this, and this is more like a moral thing, that as an entrepreneur, digital entrepreneur, make a very good living online. This is not to brag, but just to share what I want to say about it. What is cheap and expensive is always depending on what is in your wallet, right? And what stuff you need. If you have like a medical something going on, medically, physically, and you need like a high, you have high costs of medical care, you know, you find that the medical care is here cheap, right, compared to the United States or Europe. So what is cheap and expensive is also depending on what you need, and there is some things that are cheap here, but that's another video. But overall, what you have in your wallet is what makes people experience it as cheap or expensive, and also it depends on what you compare it with. Right? So do you compare it with Norway? Norway is more expensive than Costa Rica, but Costa Rica is more expensive where I live than the Netherlands where I lived in The Hague. San Jose is cheaper than Santa Teresa. So, you know, what's cheap, what's expensive, but I'm always saying, you know, make sure that you can make money on demand, which is what I do and teach to my students. If you know how to market digitally and know how affiliate marketing works, or how to give other people advice and solutions, and know how to earn your living with it, and know how to attract the right clients to you online, so not just chasing friends and family and be depending on the local economy, then I think that you're going to be good in Costa Rica, because there's lots of fiber optic internet here, fast speed internet. In all the houses where I lived, it was there. So yeah, I think it's a very good country. Anyways, this has been a long video. Of course, as you might know me, I ramble on very easy, but thanks for watching until the end. Again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can do that with clicking that icon below. I think it's on that side. And hit the bell icon to get a notification. And also, for more information about moving to Costa Rica, I wrote an ebook called 7 Steps to Move to Costa Rica. You can order it. It's an ebook. It's all that I prepared, and it's really organized information. It might help you. Of course, watch my other videos and let me hear from you. I love to connect with you. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching my video, and see you on my next one. Bye from Costa Rica. This was Muriel from the Sunshine Family.